All right, I'm doing a reading right now on something that has been, I've been kind of obsessed with this over the last couple days. Sky trumpets. Uh, I don't know about that phrase to describe this phenomenon, but it's these crazy fucking sounds that have been coming from the sky all over the world. Nobody has any idea where they're coming from. There's lots of documented cases of it. It's been happening with some frequency since 2012, and with a low frequency like before that. It's been happening for a while. And there's a lot of different kinds of these sounds. Some are hums and booms. Here I'm looking at a very specific case, and I'm looking at the case of Buenos Aires, Argentina in April of 2020, just so I can sort of have an anchor and try to find out what in the fuck was happening. So I'll put a link to that video um, in the description so you can see it and see what you think of it. And honestly, I've been trying to do this reading all night, and I mostly end up with garbled nonsense. But I feel like I'm in a better headspace right now, so maybe this is the one. All right. So here's the fucking trumpet right here in the judgment card. And our root card is a Seven of Wands. Now, the Seven of Wands shows something emerging, right? So here it's a person emerging from a forest, and it would show something coming out of a place of restriction. The Judgment card is literally the fucking sky trumpet, right? But here it's upside down. Now, one of the theories that I've had is the reason no one can see the thing that is making these sounds is because it isn't on this level. It's like not from this dimension. So I feel like it might be happening maybe in a different vibration, whatever it is. Um, and that's why we can't see it. And maybe that's why the judgment card is reversed, but let's see what's on either fucking side of this thing. All right. Now, in the many attempts that I've had at this reading, both of these cards have shown up, and it usually gives me a whole bunch of court cards. And I just don't really know what the hell they're showing. But in this case, maybe we have a little more context with this Seven of Wands and something emerging from restriction. So the Knight of Cups, the spiritual seeker. This is also some sort of an aquatic being. So maybe it has to do with the oceans or some fucking thing, right? But we have the Knight of Cups, which I guess the Knight of Cups is called. So they're sort of called to go out of their comfort zone and move toward whatever it is that's pulling them. So here they move forward, and then we have the Judgment card and basically the trumpet blowing seemingly from below, right? And then that moves toward the King of Swords. But it's interesting because both of these figures, the Knight of Cups is kind of moving this way, and the King of Swords is at least facing the other direction. So maybe this is like a combination of two different energies that sort of create this. And if you look at frequencies and all of that, and dissonant energy or harmonious energy, it is always like two different energies interacting. You would think that would cause something like this to happen. Well, with this, I'm going to pull a card on the Knight of Cups and another one on the King of Swords to see what the hell we're looking at here. And let's just look at this Knight of Cups. So tell me more about the Knight of Cups. Okay, so now we start moving directly into all of these alien readings that have been showing up. The hangman, the hanged man is, it shows up in all of these things, but it's like something that is suspended or has been suspended. It's like waiting for a moment to be released. And here, let's see what the King of Swords is. And it's the King of Pentacles. Now, the King of Pentacles has shown up in every single one of the attempts that I've done for this. And I don't really know if it's talking about straight up earth energy, if the King of Pentacles means like the spirit of earth, or if it's the fucking businessman, right? And it would not surprise me at all if this is some military industrial complex bullshit, right? And they're working on some kind of fucking thing, and this shit happens because of it. But as we look at the other stuff, this doesn't look military industrial complex over here. This looks like some sort of being that has been trapped and is being called and is like, I don't know, being summoned or something. And oh, Jesus. So, okay. Now, how are these two related? Like, what do they have to do with each other, if anything? And we get the lovers. Okay, so they are committed to each other. Now, it's really hard for me not to read all of the other stuff about the gate and the fucking aliens and the serpent and all of that stuff into this when I look at it. But I'm going to try not to do that at this point. And so here we have a thing that has been suspended. It's sort of coming out of some sort of lockdown was the word that popped into my head, but coming out of some sort of restriction. And on the other side is a king. And it looks like they are kind of dedicated to each other. The thing that is coming out and the king. And apparently, when these two energies combine, then you get sky trumpets. All right. So, is there a fucking creature, right? Are the sky trumpets, is this like a portal and a creature is going to come out? Like, is that the deal? And we get the Ace of Pentacles. Hokey smokes. Well, to me, I think this is a yes. Now, the Ace of Pentacles, for one, this is the black dragon, right? And I've seen some sort of creature in dreams, and it looks like a giant serpent, and it's black, and there's wispy smoke that comes off of it, flies through the air. It's an unmaker, right? I think it's also the same thing as Jormungandr and Leviathan, all of these. But it's black. And it could be called a dragon. It's a black serpent that can fly. So I guess I would take that as a yes, and it's probably that thing. Now, the pentacle itself is a fucking portal in this card. And here there's a whole galaxy that is on the other side of this portal. But the Ace of Pentacles is the master of taking this potential and bringing it into the world. Okay, so here's this thing that is coming out of restriction. It looks like some sort of king is helping it do that. And also that this is like a deep commitment. It must be the purpose of the king to bring this thing back. And we also do have a light and dark sort of thing going on here. So it might be energies from here and like another dimension as well. as this light and dark sort of thing. But I guess just looking at the king and what that fucking deal is, and I pull the tower. Okay, now this is a planned destruction of the container. So, whatever it is that shows up here that keeps this thing contained, so the king is trying to destroy the container. Um, all right. Well, and I guess my question, this is a yes or no, is that container destroyed with sound? Is that what's happening? And actually, the Page of Cups would make me think that the container is destroyed more with a gift or with like a blessing, just with sort of attention, you know. That is interesting. All right, so let's look at a timeline for this. I'm going to collect all of them because this shit has been actually happening with some frequency for 20 years. No, 10. Well, maybe 20. Probably longer than that, actually. But let's put a timeline on the culmination of this. Like, if there's a thing that's going to come out, when does that happen? And I get a 3 of cups. So as far as a timeline goes, this would be the shorter end of timeline. So it wouldn't be 3 eons or eras or whatever. This would be more like 3 years or maybe even 3 months. Geez. Now, I'm going to ask another question here. Is this like, I guess, the apocalypse, right? Is this the thing that comes and destroys the world, or at least a bunch of the world? And the card that we get is once again the Lovers. Well, it's interesting because when we look back on when the Lovers showed up before, so the Lovers showed the commitment between whatever the king is and whatever this thing is. So is it an apocalypse? I would not say that that's a yes. This would be a bringing together. So it wouldn't necessarily destroy this world. It would just bring some other shit into it, right? And the two worlds would become one or something like that. Let's just see, where do the aliens fit into this? Because why not? The 8 of Wands. So, I mean, we've got the messenger aspect up here with the crow bringing the message. So maybe they're the messengers. But the 8 is also the actual action. So all of this energy has grown over a long period of time. And this is the moment when she chops all those wands down. She harvests the energy that she's been growing. So they might be the trigger, right? They might be the actual trigger. Now, is the king that has shown up in this reading as the thing that's trying to release whatever is trapped, is the king a fucking human, right? And this is really hard to say. So the 10 of both of these cards came up in all of the other versions of this reading too. But the 10 of Wands is like all the shit work that you have to do to get something done. So is the king a human? The 10 of Wands, I mean, I wouldn't even really know how to read that other than maybe the humans are doing the work, right? Maybe the humans are the vehicle, like they're like the drones that actually do all the shit work. And the other card that shows up is this reverse 3 of Wands, and the Three of Wands is something that has been growing for a long time. Again, we get it reversed, and I feel like this is probably talking about some sort of plan on many levels, right? That has been happening for a while. Like there's been a bunch of energies that have been working toward this for a long time. Okay. So when, let's say the dam breaks, right? I've had a theory about this, but I'm going to ask a yes or no question, and it's pretty much when this happens, does it mean that fucking gates open up all over the place? Portals opening up everywhere. And a Two of Cups, it's interesting because the Hangman is again on the bottom. The way that I would read this Two of Cups, I don't think it would mean that portals break open everywhere. I think it would mean that whatever would come through the portal would just be here. Again, it's like a blending, a literal blending of vibrations or a blending of worlds. So it wouldn't maybe even need a portal at that point because the vibrations would just become the same thing. And there's also the Hangman. And again, this is like waiting for the right time. So I guess it's more about time than it is about portals. All right. So I guess the question that I have now, is there any link as to where they happen geologically? Because they're happening all over the world, but the thing is, they're coming from the sky, so they might not be attached to the earth whatsoever. And to that question, well, and our root is another queen. The Queen of Cups is not saying to me necessarily yes, but the Queen of Cups is about care and attention. So I think that there is care and attention given to where it happens, but I don't think it's about like one spot being fucking magic and another one not being magic. I think there is just care and attention given to where it actually happens. And the two queens would talk about receptivity. So maybe it would happen where something is more receptive than other things. But here's the thing, what is it? I mean, does it have anything to do with humans at all? Or is this just some big earth shit? Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with us and we're just going to be here when it happens. Well, the Two of Wands reversed, it would be kind of a no, but the Two of Wands itself is like, it would partially be about humans, but also partially not. Like it would be a more complicated answer than that. And the fact that this thing is reversed, I think it's just showing like other layers of reality as well. So there's a lot of factors, not all of them are on this physical earth. So it would be, it's like too complicated and big of a deal. All right. So now here's the question. If you're somewhere and this shit starts happening, what do you do? Like, what does it make sense to do? Do you run? Do you hide? Like, what do you do? And there is our good friend, the Hangman again. Now, the 10 of Pentacles is showing stability, inheritance. So I think this would kind of be like, what would you do in a big storm? You would go to the big stable structure, right? And I think maybe that would be a good thing to do during these events as well. And as far as the Hangman, maybe this is just go back to your castle or some place that is sturdy and fucking wait, you know? Because, geez, if the unmaker serpent starts flying around, there's not a damn thing that can be done about it anyway until it's done flying around. So now I guess I'm going to collect these. So, what have I not thought of? What do I need to know about this whole deal? And a Six of Wands, this is success and recognition, but I think it's showing a metamorphosis, something coming out of a pod, right? So I just think there is a metamorphosis of something that is happening. As I look at this, I'm really seeing the sun and the moon here. Boop. So the timer or whatever, I think it might be the sun. So when the sun goes through a specific shift or change or some fucking thing, then that is when this shit starts to happen. And since it's happening with more frequency, it's probably the sun morphing or doing whatever it's doing more often. So, geez, that's what we get here. And I would love to hear what you think about this. I would love to hear literally any theories. And if you have another idea of uh, an angle to look at this from, let me know. Peace.